Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. And as you saw rather briefly there, this one is Dragon's Den, which was programmed by Andy Finkel. Single-handedly he did everything, the actual coding, graphics, audio, the lot, and was released by Commodore in 1983. So again, with the very early titles, I do seem to be focusing a bit on the early gaming on the Commodore 64, which is not a bad thing, but yes. So this was a cartridge-based game, which is something else I seem to be doing a bit of lately. Is quite a few cartridge games. So, well, let's get the game underway and show you what this is all about. So you've got some vague ideas because you're seeing these screenshots, which are all the various stages of the game. It seems to be almost comprised of several mini stages per round. There's only a very tenuous link between between each of them. Anyway, let's get the game underway, and I'll explain more as we go along. So the first level, you start by having to attract the dragons out of their like caverns. As you can see, you are on the winged horse here. I don't know if that means you're playing as Bellerophon or not, but you have to get the dragons out of the caverns in order. So it always has to be the red one you go for. And when you have scared each of them out, or lured each of them out, you now have a lance. And I must admit, I do cheat a little bit. Just wait for them all, go along the top and take them all out in one fell swoop. So now we have to ride through this passageway. You have to avoid some creatures, so you can't kill the spiders here, even though you've got this huge fucking great lance on you. Nor can you take out that spinning thing, whatever it is, but these I think they're meant to be baby dragons. You can take them out. And then finally these spears, which I can normally do no problem, but no, not this time. Fucking yes! Gonna have to jump twice. Fucking hell. I used to be able to just go over and jump over them once. There we go. So we've got to the end of the passageway, and now we are at the egg of the adult dragon. We need to draw her out of the egg by slaughtering more of the baby dragons. Again, there's an easy way of doing it. You just hang around the top and keep taking them out as they emerge from the ceiling here. I think I have about 2 or 3 more to go. The game is made considerably easier by the fact that you can loop around from one side to the other. Now this is the most difficult stage of the lot, so we need to hit the dragon here. Not like that. You need to hit it about 4 times. Now that is essentially game over, but it tells you to press fire to continue. And okay, that's the first time I've seen that. So if you leave it long enough, you can then say, right, that's game over. I was about to put my name in then. Why the fucking hell do I bother with that? So that wasn't a particularly good demonstration of how to play the game, so let's have another bash, and while we're doing this I will start the review. Well, the first thing that instantly springs to mind with anybody, especially if it's the first time they've seen this game, is that there are unavoidable comparisons to be made between this and Joust. The one way that they managed to get around it, I suppose, is that you're not on the back of some weird fucking ostrich. You are actually on the back of a flying horse. Oh, fuck that up a bit. And of course it's fire button to flap the wings. Up and down doesn't do anything. So the control method is exactly the same as Joust, but there is a bit more to do in this game than there is in Joust, so I suppose there is that. But it's also, well, a lot simpler than Joust is. I mean, this level here really isn't much of a challenge. You've had none of the levels are that much of a challenge. I think the game may have been made with younger players in mind. But then again, I mean, 1983 graphics, it's a bit difficult to tell sometimes if they were meant for younger kids or if it's just that was all they could do. So since I've mentioned graphics, let's get on with graphics. For 1983, I think the graphics are pretty fucking good. Yes, they are blocky, especially on the expanded sprites, but then, you know, expanded sprites are always blocky, it can't be avoided. The game, as I say, actually looks quite good, I think. And I don't mean looks good by, so I hit him once, I don't mean it looks good by 1983 standards either. I think it does look pretty good. Right, so I've got to hit him 2 more times. The thing is, his movement isn't a set pattern. He does move around completely randomly. There we go, so that's the dragon killed. So we have the half-time show, chasing the dragon one way, and then a la Scooby-Doo, it turns around because suddenly the dragon has grown and is chasing us. Right, so on to round 2. Alright, so that's them having all been oh, you fuck. Now this is going to get a bit tough, because yes, they've all escaped. Actually, I might go, yeah, I'll go away with it here. I'll say escaped, they've all been driven out of their cavern. So now we're back here. This cavern is now rather more difficult. Mind you, being more difficult than it was first time around really isn't saying much. So anyway, yeah, that's graphics covered. I think the graphics are great, and I say not just for 1983. I think they look pretty good in general. Audio is, I mean, the music is no great shakes, but then again, neither was the music in any of Paul Norman's games. Indeed, the music in this game does remind me of Paul Norman's games. Incidentally, if you're wondering why I'm not just constantly flapping and staying at the top of the screen, if you do that, the arrows then appear from the top, so they do follow you around. But I mean, it's not just, oh, fuck you know, bollocks that right up. I think, yeah, game over there. I've completely lost the thread of what I was going to say. Oh yes, I mean it's not just graphics. There are sound effects. The sound effects that are in it are adequate. I mean they're not groundbreaking, but again, this is a 1983 game. They do the job, and they're not terrible by any means. And the game itself, fuck it, I'll have one more go. It's simplistic to a degree. It's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, the first time you played it, because this is a game that I did play back in the day, but I didn't actually own it. When you first start playing it, it is bloody difficult actually. And it does take a bit of a while to get used to the controls. There's an awful lot of inertia on your actual character that you control, and it makes getting through, especially the levels where you are flying around trying to either attack the flying dragons in the stage before this one or in the stage after here, it does make it tricky. So yeah, the game's not a fucking walkover. It can be quite, quite a tricky one to start with. Once you've got, I was about to say, once you get used to the controls, it does get quite a lot easier. And then I fuck it up big time twice, because I keep forgetting to actually press the fire button enough times. There we go. So I mean, each level is different enough, especially in the presentation, and oh fucking read a right bollocks up of that. I'll continue. There weren't very many games in 1983 that gave you continues either, that's for sure. Fuck that right up. So I mean, in some ways, it's very advanced for its time. So what do I score it? I don't think it's a terrible game at all. It's not bad. It's not phenomenal. It's not, you know, nothing revolutionary. But I've played way worse than this. So I will score it. Oh, bollocks! I will score this 7 out of 10. It's a reasonable old game. Oh, I made a real fuck up of that. And yeah, hit fire continue. I'm not going to continue again. So there you go. That is Dragon's Den. 7.5 out of 10. No, 7 out of 10. It's not quite 7.5. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for that one. It's not bad at all. And you may notice that throughout this entire review, I've never once mentioned the likes of Peter Jones and Duncan Bannatyne and whoever that fucking miserable cow is, Deborah Meaden, and any of the others. And the reason I've left it to the end here is that maybe now I'll see if anybody has made, you know, such hilarious comments along those lines. If you have, you're a prick. Right. That's this review then done. So yeah, we'll see you at the next one.